Welcome back to Arise and Shine. We're here with the Mindy Project's Beth Grant. So Beth, right before the break, you were telling us a little bit about what it was like to be a woman trying to make it in Hollywood in the 70s. Tell us a little bit more about that, and even just as far as, you know, you were starting to touch on this, the physical appearance that they kind of wanted.
I didn't fit in. I wasn't what they were looking for. I had one agent tell me. She said, "Oh yeah." So yeah, right. We're all most of us.
Right.
But this one agent said, "You know, you're so talented. If you just get this little knot shaved off and trim your nose and get some silicone shots in your lips and trim your chin and lose weight, I'd love to represent you." And I thought, what part of me would be left? I kind of want to be me.
And I've gone through that. I mean, I had a very well-known casting director tell me to like completely fix my chin so I didn't look like my dad. I've had people say if you had bigger boobs, if you did this, if you have straighter hair, I would represent you. And I was just like, finally, I was just like, forget it.
And look who you are. And you're so gorgeous. And I'm sure you're honored to look like your brilliant father who helped change the world.
Exactly.
Speaking of, you know, All in the Family in that period, he and George Carlin helped change my life. And then, you know, my father changed. So we're all in this together.
We are. We're in this boat. We're going down and up.
and down and up and down and up.
So how do you think that women are different these days than they were back in the 60s and the 70s?
Don't you think we're more free to be ourselves? I mean, when I was a freshman in college, we weren't allowed to wear pants on campus unless we were going to an art class or PE class, and then we had to wear a raincoat over it. We weren't allowed to smoke. Not that smoking is something we want to be free to do necessarily, but we couldn't smoke on campus, but guys could.
Yeah, just the double standard.
And we had a curfew, and they didn't. And so how wonderful now that people have choices. I mean, I'm so proud of my daughter. She's in her 4th year at Juilliard, and 6 feet tall and strong and muscles. And she's playing Macbeth. Not Lady Macbeth, Macbeth.
That's awesome.
And when I got that news, I was just like, oh, my life has come full circle, you know, for them to give her that. So life has changed. And you ladies are here talking about real issues and having your town hall with the leaders of America. I mean, this is fantastic.
We're really
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Beth. But now back to you, So what other projects have you been working on? Because I know you're always working.
Well, I do. I'm very lucky. I have a movie that I'm very proud of. Zoe Lister-Jones and Daryl Ween wrote it. He directed it. She stars in it. Called Consumed, like consumed food, and it's about the GMOs in our food.
Oh, wow. That's a big,
are they
important
dangerous
issue.
or are they not dangerous? And it's this Midwestern girl whose son starts to get sick and she can't find out why, and through the university she starts to find out about it. And so it's a thriller.
Ooh,
and I play Zoe's mom, and Victor Garber's, I mean, it's a wonderful cast, and it's making the rounds now for the festival, so I'll let you know where we end up. And then I have one coming out in March with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, directed by her husband, Riley Stearns, and they're a great team. So it's coming out called Faults, F-A-U-L-T-S, and that'll be out in March. So,
and then also tell us about there's Blues for Willa Dean.
Blues for Willa Dean is a movie that I co-produced with my cousin.
What a great title, by the way.
Thank you. Well, it's about domestic violence, and we have a great blues singer, Debbie Holiday. You may know her music. She's fabulous, and it's kind of magical realism, but it's about domestic violence. Octavia Spencer plays my best friend. We did the play in Hollywood for almost a year, and then fortunately we were able to. It's very low budget. We shot it in 15 days.
Oh wow!
But it came out a couple of years ago, and now it's on iTunes and Amazon.com and Walmart. And we do fundraisers all around the country to help raise money for the domestic violence shelters, like the Georgia Coalition Against Domestic Violence. I can't speak. We're doing one January 10th in Norfolk, Virginia for Samaritan House and the YWCA. Billy Greer, president of Wesleyan College there, has put this together, and
amazing.
We're very excited about that.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that you work on so many projects that have messages, whether it's, you know, GMOs in food or domestic violence. But I also want our viewers to check out a clip. We have a clip of a Blues for Willa Dean, so let's check it out.
Oh, how great! Okay. Thank you.
What the hell happened to the television, Willa Dean?
You're paying to fix that TV.
He does not beat me. You got a big purple bruise on your leg, and you act like you know my life, and you don't.
Wow.
And that's so, you know what, not only is that powerful, but that's so true. Yeah. It's so true how so many women who are, or men who are battered behave.
It's statistically, I mean, it's so shocking that like 25% of us are affected by domestic violence, and that's probably not even accurate. And the thing that's wonderful about doing this movie is, I mean, it sounds so corny to say, but it's actually helped change people's lives. I mean, we've gotten letters from people who have left their abusers after seeing this film. We had parents come to a screening that we were having and thank us because their daughter and her children finally got out of that situation. And the help, you have to have help. You can't do it by yourself. And there is help available. There are hotlines. National Coalition Against Domestic Violence has a hotline. Any community, every state has a coalition. And the man needs help too. They're not going to change. They can't change. Usually they grew up in violence. That's what happens. That's the history. Well,
it must be really rewarding for you to hear those stories of people that you've impacted just through your work.
Oh, it's beyond humbling. I mean, it's such a tiny little movie, a very simple story, shot almost like the play, you know. And it's very, and of course, having Octavia Spencer, Academy Award winning,
and you, of course,
and Dale Dickey from Winter's Bone is in it. So we have these three women, and we love each other so much. So I think that shows.
So again, where can people donate for the project?
Well, any of your state coalitions. We are particularly fond of the Georgia Coalition because we shot in DeKalb County, and that is one of the worst counties in the country. But then also the YWCA in Norfolk, and find out about this fundraiser January 10th in Norfolk.
You have so much involvement, obviously, like I said, the GMO, now, you know, dealing with domestic violence. What are your thoughts actually on Ferguson?
Gosh, I tell you, it's so funny. It's so shocking, and it's so moving to see the response of the people that were. I don't want to say I'm happy that it's caused this discussion, but I'm happy for the discussion. Because, you know, Desmond Tutu's wife is also a minister, and I heard her say something that peace begins with a greeting and a smile, which makes me cry. Because I think that's the hope. If we can talk, if we can have discussion, if we can get to know each other. And I'm talking, you know, Jimmy Carter says that violence against women is the #1 problem in the world. More than any of the wars. But violence, I mean, I take it even a step further, that just against each other. If we can just have peace. I mean, the fact that they think that they have to have war vehicles in Ferguson. You know,
it's unbelievable.
That's the thing that I didn't know that existed.
But that's what I'm saying too, the subconscious message. Sometimes that's what we do. And we have to retrain how we think in our society about domestic violence, about violence in general, about any type of abuse or human unkindness. I think we have to retrain our programming. Retrain
ourselves. And I love his father is saying that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there is some positivity that can come out of this horrible situation. And one thing I think that's we're talking so much about when it comes to Ferguson is racial profiling, right? By law enforcement. But profiling happens no matter what. There are stereotypes for a reason. You're from the South.
From the South.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I mean, have people had misperceptions about your Southern roots?
I mean, people come up to me and start telling me a racial joke or an ethnic joke, and I think, why would you assume that you can tell me that joke? First of all, why are you telling that joke? And then why me? And I guess I'm very lucky. I mean, but my cousin Bobby Reardon, who helped produce the movie in Atlanta, I mean, he and I both have been involved in working for the ERA, civil rights. My mother was like that. All Southerners aren't like that. We really aren't.
Absolutely not.
And so, yes, I know that experience. And you know, when I did the movie Speed, Hawthorne James, who was the bus driver on Speed, drove a Jaguar. He said he couldn't go into Beverly Hills without having a police officer stop him. And this is like a respected guy. So I understand racial profiling from my point and then from my friend's point. So hopefully these discussions were going to change, though.
You know, I think the discussions are going to change. I think you're an amazing, I mean, I know you from before, so I just think you're an amazing human being.
I loved her a long time.
Because you're about change. Everything you do is just so from the heart and so much full of love. So thank you so much for taking your time.
Love is the answer to every question. Love is the answer to every question.
Yes, ma'am. So up next, Tony Robbins wants to set you financially free with his new book, Money, How to Master the Game. I guess I still need some help with that and wake up. Stay with us, and we'll be right back on Arise and Shine.
That's funny, tripping up on that.